Hello everyone, welcome to the now well overdue podcast to announce the plans for Season 3 of the Sudspeed Majors Endurance Championship. We do still have one race left in Season 2, and we will run through the standings and championship scenarios ahead of that race in a future podcast, but I'm pretty sure that most of you are keen to just crack on with hearing what's new, what's changed, when and where the races are going to be for Season 3, which is the point of this episode. So let's just have one little bit of further ado, and then we'll run through all the details I can share with you at this point after this.
G'day everyone, Richard here, co-founder of Sudspeed. As you all likely know, we've been partnered with Majors for some time now, and we're thrilled to announce we're officially collaborating on a Majors-themed glove. At the moment, it's in the pre-order stage, but with enough interest, we'll get the glove made and we can't wait for it. Co-designed by Mike at Majors and Chris here at Sudspeed, it features a classic sports car sparking nostalgia for the glory days of endurance racing. Head to sudspeed.com/products/majors or use the links in the Majors Discord to get your pre-order in now so you don't miss out. See you on track!
So, Season 3 of the Sudspeed MEC. The demand for more MEC races in the second half of the year was certainly strong, and so it is happening, as I alluded to in the driver's briefing for the last round. Right, let's get to some of the more simple details that we can share to begin with. The number of races that we're going to have, it will be 4 events in Season 3 that count for points and 1 end-of-year special event that will not count for points. So just like the Blackout event in 2024 or the 24-ish hours of Road Atlanta in 2025, there will be a standalone event at the end of the year. Why do we do those single events that don't count for championship points? Well, it's a good way to test rule changes for the following season, any iRacing changes that have come in the season updates, as well as have a bit of fun with the race format and race without quite so much pressure for one last time for the year. For the championship races, we will not be having a drop round for Season 3. We've had 6 races in Season 2 with a drop round, but 4 is too short to have a round not count, in my opinion. So we'll talk about the number of races in future seasons and plans for 2027 towards the end of Season 3, as I plan on doing some surveys and getting lots of feedback on what we do next year before we lock away some of those plans. Loosely though, the plan in my mind is 2 seasons again in 2027, one with the same structure as we had in Season 2, and one with the same structure as Season 3, but with a balanced number of races. So whether that's 5 in each side or 6 in each season, it'll be one of those sorts of things. Now, what do you mean by different structures of each season, Garen, I hear you asking? Well, let me explain. So one of the big changes for Season 3 compared to what we've done in the MEC so far is around splits and pre-qualifying. For Season 3, all teams will need to be season entries. We won't be accepting one-off race entrants. After the registration period closes before the season starts, all teams will be assigned a division, which is the one that they will compete in for the entire year. So think of the football leagues in Europe or the NCAA divisions in college sports in the US. Once you're in a division or a group or a split, that is where you will be for the entire MEC. Each division will have its own scoring, its own championship standings, and its own season winners. Now, how do we determine the divisions? Well, we're very lucky to have a lot of data from the MEC races and Majors 24 that we can use to assess the performance of drivers. We also have sim science working with us in a lot of areas, so we can really go to town on understanding the relative abilities and speed of drivers, not just look at their iRating. So each team will be able to nominate up to 5 drivers with their season entry. The top 3 of them, based on rankings, ratings and data that we have, will be used to determine which division that team goes into, much in the same way that pre-qualifying for the Majors 24 works. Now, that is not to say that all drivers nominated have to run in every single race, but the 3 drivers who are used for determining which division a team is put into must race at least once each across the 4 races, and at least one of those 3 must race in every race for the season, though it doesn't have to be the same single person in all races. I hope that makes sense. When we release the Season 3 event page and you can look at it, it might be a little bit more clear. One of the things that you'll pick up on as we go through the next few points is the higher the division that you're in, the more perks, doing air quotes, or features you will get. This is because I want people to strive for being in as high a division as possible and wanting to earn their way to higher divisions in future seasons if they're not already at the top. Just how that will work will be determined in the future, but success will for sure be rewarded in future seasons' division selection. Now, one such area is race length. We'll be moving to a series of 30-minute sprint races. No, that's bullshit, of course. This is the Endurance Championship. No, what we'll be doing is Division 1 races will be 8 hours in length for all 4 races. Division 2, they will all be 7 hours. And Divisions 3 and beyond, and if we can get to 4 or more, I would be so happy, but they will all be 6 hours in length. Now, there is a benefit for this for the lower divisions as well, because what we plan on doing for the broadcast is using these different race lengths to offset the start and finish times, allowing the live stream to switch across to watch the start and finish segments of all of the splits. So every team, not just top split, as is the case now, will get a chance at some TV time. Oh, and I should have mentioned as well, the top 3 finishers of all divisions in Season 2 of the MEC will be given the option of accepting a place in Division 1 for Season 3, regardless of their team's position in the registration rankings. That will be optional though, so if a Pro-Am team decides that they don't want to go up against the top group of teams in the MEC, they can be placed where their relative strength would have put them instead of accepting that entry into Division 1. It is their right to choose if they have earned it. That choice will also come with the caveat that 3 of their nominated drivers must remain the same as those drivers used in the current season. So no, you won't be able to finish in the top 3 and then sell your Division 1 entry to a different group of drivers. Now, the move to season-long divisions will mean that there is no Pro-Am subdivision for the GT3 class, and also no driver restrictions on the LMP2 cars. The relative strength of your team will be reflected by the division that you're in and the cars that are around you, so that takes the place of the Pro-Am separations. As I mentioned before, I do plan on having one season with that Pro-Am feature in 2027 and one without, so it is not gone forever. It also means that pre-queue is no longer required. All drivers on your registration are eligible for any given race, and so arrive on race day with your team for that day with whatever roster you have, and away you go. If you choose to register with less than 5 drivers, which is your right, you cannot add any more without consent from the series director, and that's me. For Division 1, it would probably always be approved because you're already in the top division. For other divisions, we would need to see that the driver is not far above the average level of that division before we allow that addition. I would really encourage you to try and get a full team of 5 set before registering if you can. It will make things a lot easier for everyone, but there is that option there if you can't. So what else is changing? So this is a big one that will make at least some people happy. Teams in the GTP and GT3 classes will be required to use the same make of car for the entire season. So whatever you show up with at race 1, that is the car that you'll be required to race at all of the others. We will cross one iRacing dev update during the season. Now, if, and only if, management decide that there was a change big enough to warrant it from iRacing, either those using one particular make of car or all teams within a class may be allowed a single change to account for the disadvantage introduced by any season update. We won't be using a custom BOP. We will continue to just use the built-in balance as per the IMSA Endurance series on iRacing. So essentially the built-in balance of the cars as they come out of the box. All teams are also going to be required to use the same car number in all of the races. This number selection will be part of the registration process, and any conflicts that people ask for will be resolved by the series management. Not sure how, toss a coin, spin a wheel, something like that, but we'll sort it out when we get there. Actually, one little adjustment we will be making too is that we'll be asking teams not to have numbers in their team names that confuse or conflict with the number of their car. We've had a number of protests this year go against wrong cars because team blah blah number 33 is actually running 48 in the race, but team awesome 48 is actually 911, etc. And my brain starts to hurt with that sort of stuff in race control. So we'll be trying to make that a little tidier. Safety car procedures. What we're going to do is have slightly different approaches to all divisions, again in line with the higher divisions are worth aiming for in mind. All divisions will use a manually driven safety car to the same process that we've had this year, but subtle differences in terms of triggers. Division 1 will have a dedicated race director and safety car driver in their races at all times, with request to tow in force at all times. So there'll be no 30-minute window after their safety car to prevent another one or mean that you can tow without permission. So essentially, just like in real life, any major incident will result in a safety car. Division 2 will also have request to tow in force, but there will be periods after each safety car that request to tow will be suspended and no safety car will be possible. It's likely that this will be 60 minutes rather than 30 as it is now, but that isn't quite decided yet, so we'll confirm that a little closer to the date. Division 3 will have random safety cars much like we do in the lower splits right now for Season 2, up to a maximum of 4 per race. And Division 4 and beyond, if we get that many teams, will have 0, 1 or 2 per race. And that will essentially be if the second race control team that's operating the safety cars in Division 2 and Division 3 has capacity to do it rather than it being fully randomised. Race and season awards are planned again for Season 3, assuming that the new mail-outs of the Season 2 plaques goes well and without drama. They have been sent this week from Australia, so we'll take some time to get around the world, and I really hope the dramas of the coins are not repeated as far as customs and mail services is concerned. But I will say from the outset that they will all be sent at the completion of the season together, given the small number of races this season. All of that is unless we have issues with the mailing process, in which case alternatives to physical awards might need to be found. We may also have a points change, as we'll only have one split's worth of points to give out for each division. Maybe we'll use IndyCar, maybe IMSA, maybe FIA. That's still to be decided. However, the progressive point system we won't need to carry over. Okay, I've deliberately left this till towards the end to try and keep you all here, just because I'm a prick. But the circuits that we will use and the dates that we will run on, which is probably the two things that everyone was most interested in. Okay, so let's start with when the races will be happening. Race 1 will be on Saturday, August the 15th. Now, start time will be advised before registrations open, but it will be starting at some point Saturday GMT. And to be honest, we'll have Europe and America's most in mind when determining the time slot. So sorry to my fellow Australia, New Zealand and Asian competitors. The vast majority of races are from Euro and in America in the Sudspeed MEC. So it just means that we need to be preferential to those time zones for our races. Look, I'll be the one that suffers the most. So it's nothing personal, I can assure you. Race 2 will be Saturday, September the 12th. Race 3, October 17, and the final race, November 14. So you will see it is essentially the middle weekend of each month. The special event will be December 5th or 6th. It could be the Saturday or the Sunday. We have to determine that. Now, having said all of that, all of these dates are provisional until registration opens. I intend the start times for all divisions to always be the same, though, as I said earlier, due to the offset start times, they won't be the same as each other. So Division 1, Division 2, Division 3 will be starting and finishing at different times. But the lower divisions will both start and end within the 8 hours of the top division. So the start and end times provided when the registrations open will be an earliest and or latest start and finish time for all divisions, so you can plan around that. Okay, last piece of the puzzle for today, circuits. We will be going to the following tracks. Round 1 will be at Mexico. Round 2 will be at Suzuka. Round 3 will be at the Nürburgring, the GP circuit, because the full Nordschleife, whilst it would be fun, would be just insane. And round 4 will be COTA. Now, before you groan, we will be running an increased incident limit cap at that race compared to the others. That is to allow for the difficult nature of avoiding 1Xs at COTA, so it won't be as bad as running officials there. Now, a caveat that I will put on the calendar is, if there is a new track released 4 weeks or more ahead of the COTA race that we really want to use instead, we will make that change. So a Middle Eastern FIA circuit is one that comes to mind as a possible potential swap. I know there's been talks about Paul Ricard. If Sepang was ever scanned and released, we would be going there for sure. So there is that potential for a really cool track to be added into the season. And for those who have or want to ask, no, we cannot race at Bathurst, the Nordschleife, as I mentioned, Monaco, if they were to ever do that, or any other circuit that will have the safety car driver actually scoring points for finishing inside the top 10 with the number of laps that they would have to complete. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of questions that have come out of that. It's a pretty rapid-fire pieces of information that I've given off there. So please feel free to send any questions into the MEC general chat in the Discord. The next week or so is going to be pretty busy with the Majors 24 and stuff, but Mike and I will try and get an info page up onto the site with most of this information and anything more that we can think of so that you can revisit these things and actually read and take them in from that perspective. We have plenty of time to massage the rules and specifics and get people's ideas before we get to registrations. And feedback and ideas are definitely welcome if you're not being a dick about them. And I do always consider feedback that I get. I do. So with that, thanks for listening to the plans that we've got. I hope that this has generated a little excitement for what is ahead in Season 3. And I am certainly excited to bring it to you. So thanks very much, and we can't wait to see you for the final round of the Sudspeed MEC Season 2 in July.
Hey, you know that guy who just before the green flag keys up his mic and asks, "Anybody got a setup?" Well, this is him. This is Adam, and hey, Adam needs some help. On the other hand, this guy over here, this is Steve. Steve is a solid racer and he knows his way around the garage. Steve's problem is time. With a job and a family, he can't find enough time to build competitive setups and to race as often as he likes. But as luck would have it, Steve knows a secret. He lets the Majors Garage crew chiefs do the setup work, so he can focus on the racing. At majorsgarage.com, Steve can get setups for over 60 cars on the iRacing service. So no matter what series he wants to jump into, he is covered. Somebody, anybody, really should tell Adam. See you at the garage.